The directions for the Star Lab. The north will be by the fan, the south is across from that, the east will be by the entrance, and the west is across from that. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and the moon will be the opposite. Stars are so far away, they're not measured in miles. If you go 1,000 miles an hour, it will still take you 3 million years to reach the nearest star, excluding our sun, which is pretty close. It's only 93 million miles away. Stars have different colors. The blue or the white are the hottest. The red are the coolest. The red giants are the largest. They're actually expanding, and then one day they're going to run out of fuel, hydrogen, and like a light bulb, they'll go out. Our white dwarfs are small, and they're younger. Our sun is medium size, and it will burn out one day, but scientists say about 5 billion years from now. The winter W goes from Procyon to Sirius to Betelgeuse to Rigel and to Aldebaran. Also, an equilateral triangle forms between Procyon, Sirius, Betelgeuse, and back to Procyon. Procyon is in Canis Minor. Sirius is in Canis Major. Sirius is the brightest star with a magnitude of -1. The light in it took 9 years to reach your eye. Betelgeuse is a really old and red giant, and it took 430 years for that light to travel at 186,000 miles an hour to get to your eyes. Rigel is a blue star, which means it's much younger and has much more time burning its fuel. And Aldebaran is up in the constellation Taurus. Our Earth's revolution takes about 365.25 days. So that means it revolves about 1 degree a day to the west. Stars do wobble and they move from their precession, but stars don't actually move. They appear to be moving because our revolution and rotation on the Earth make the stars look like they're in different locations, but they're not actually moving. There are circumpolar stars in the north. Polaris, for example, is directly 40 degrees above. So you outstretch your arm and go up 40 degrees, you'll find Polaris. You might have to look at the pointer stars from the Big Dipper because they are brighter, which means they have a lower magnitude. And since Polaris is a pretty faint star. But if you find Polaris, you will notice that all the other stars seem to rotate counterclockwise around it. And they appear to change about 15 degrees an hour because our Earth is rotating. But these stars are pretty good to look at because they don't move, or we don't move, I should say. They're like early GPS. The sailors used them and they still do, because it is a good point to find your location from, because it will never move, okay, even depending upon our location. The moon rotates and revolves at about the same rate. It rotates in 27.3 days, and it revolves around the Earth in about 29.5 days. So, as it's making its way in a counterclockwise motion, it is turning, so it's allowing a little more sun to be reflected every day for the first 2 weeks up until full moon, and then in the last 2 weeks it is turning so not as much sun can be reflected until it gets back to a new moon. The first 2 weeks the moon is waxing. It's a waxing crescent to a first quarter, to a waxing gibbous, to a full moon, and then it starts waning. A waning gibbous to a third quarter, to a waning crescent, and back to a new moon. During the new moon phase, a phenomenon can also occur called a solar eclipse, where the new moon is in between the Earth and the sun, and it's positioned exactly so that the moon blocks out the sun's light. And therefore on Earth it looks like the sun is being blocked, and this is called the solar eclipse. And the opposite can occur at the full moon, when the earth and the moon and the sun are aligned, and the earth is blocking the sun's light, and therefore the full moon will be blocked, and this is called a lunar eclipse.
The Greek myth of Ursa Minor is that Zeus had another relationship with a girl named Callisto, and the wife was known for her jealousy. Her name was Hera, and because of her jealousy, she sent Callisto and her son Arcus into the sky. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. Anything to add?
Canis Major and Minor are part of the Winter W. Canis Major contains Sirius, one of the largest and brightest stars in the universe. The myth of Canis Major is that Canis Major, along with Canis Minor, were Orion's hunting dogs that helped protect him from Taurus. One time, Canis Major saved Orion, and the gods rewarded him by putting him in the sky along with Canis Minor. Canis Major can be seen in March. Canis Minor can also be seen in March, and you just go west from Orion's belt.
Very good.
3 facts about Scorpius are that there are many bright stars. The heart of the arachnid is Antares, and there are others like M4, M6, and M7, but they're out of the constellation. And Julius Caesar cut off the arachnid's claws to make the constellation Libra, and the season for viewing Scorpius is in the summer.
Excellent.
The seasons for viewing the Ursa Major is all year round, and inside of the Ursa Major is the Big Dipper, and there's 2 pointer stars that point to the North Star Polaris, and the Ursa Major also has an awards called the Ursa Major Awards.
Very good.
It's a constellation on Venus.
My constellation is the Capricorn, and it's it's a seagull, and it's half fish, half goat. The bottom half is like a tail, like a fish, and the top half is a goat. And the myth is that there was a guy named Pan, and all these gods, they went to a picnic, and there was a monster, so they all turned into an animal and ran away. But Pan didn't know what animal to turn into, so he jumped into the Nile River, and he was only half in, so his bottom half turned into a fish, and his top half turned into a goat. So now, with that myth, they think that's what the constellation looks like.
Excellent.
This is Hercules. He was the strongest warrior, and he had 12 jobs, and one of his jobs were to kill Leo the lion, and he did that. And then the myth is that he was slaying Hydra, and he cut off his head, and they just kept forming back. So when he cut through the body, and that's what he did. That's Hercules.
Excellent.
Hydra was a monster with 100 heads, and whenever a head was chopped off, 2 would grow back. So no one could kill this monster. So Hercules came, and with the help of his nephew Lolus, he would chop off one head, and then his nephew would take a hot iron and put it where it was chopped off so it wouldn't grow back. And
He buried the middle head.
Okay. Excellent.
Outside heads, well, the outside heads, not the middle head. The outside heads were mortal, and the middle head was immortal. And so, in order, he had to cut it off and then put heat on it so it wouldn't grow back. But the immortal head, which was the middle one, he had to bury so that it wouldn't come back. And
yeah, he buried it under
he had
a
to
rock.
bury it.
Excellent.
The myth for Pisces was that there was a great monster named Typhon, and Aphrodite and her son Eros needed to escape, so they changed into the form of a fish.
of two fish, and they tied themselves together so that they wouldn't get lost in the sea.
Very good. Go.
There are two myths of Orion. The first one was that his father was Neptune and his mother was Queen Uriel, and his mother was a very good hunter, so he picked up some of that, and he was like slaying every beast everywhere until finally one day, with a vast ego, he tried to kill he was trying to kill a bunch of beasts, and then he stepped on a tiny scorpion that stung and killed him. And then the second myth is that he didn't have parents, he was a gift to a poor man, and he just became a hunter, and he fell in love with Merope, but Merope's father didn't like him, so even though Orion slayed every beast in the kingdom, Merope's father still didn't like him, so Orion left and met Diana, the sun god, but Diana's father didn't like Orion either, so one day while Orion was swimming, Diana's brother Apollo killed him by shooting him with an arrow.
Excellent.
Ours is Leo the lion. He was placed in the city of Nemea. He terrorized all the citizens.
He comes out in the spring.
His main star is Regulus. He was slain by Hercules. Hercules is missing a finger because Leo bit one off. Leo is invincible to even the sharpest blades.
Very.
Bootes is the oldest known constellation, and it's the 13th largest constellation. The third brightest star belongs to Bootes.
Pegasus was a winged horse in Greek mythology which came from the neck of Medusa when she was decapitated. The horse was tamed by Corinthian, who later brought Pegasus into a battle against a fire-breathing beast known as Chimera. Soon the hero tried to fly to heaven, but the gods caused Pegasus to buck, and Corinthian fell down to the ground. Pegasus proceeded to fly where it took a place in the stables of Zeus.
Pegasus is the star that's about to die, the first star that's about to die.
Pegasus is the seventh biggest constellation and is made up of 13 different stars.
The myth of Sagittarius is that there was a man named Cybron, and he was attacked and killed by Hercules and some other people. Hercules was upset of noticing what he had just done, so he wanted to put a good resting place for Cybron among the stars. So he made this constellation Sagittarius the Archer, and Sagittarius is a constellation of a half man, half animal. His torso and down is a horse and up is a man, and then he has a bow and arrow pointing towards Scorpio, so if he tried to harm anyone, he could stop him. Cassiopeia was the wife of King Cepheus, and she would always brag to the sea nymphs that she and her daughter Andromeda were more beautiful than them, and the sea nymphs got very mad and told Poseidon. So Poseidon sent a giant sea monster, Cetus, to King Cepheus' land, and King Cepheus had to sacrifice Andromeda to keep the sea monster from destroying their land. But Perseus came in and saved Andromeda and soon married her for what he did. And now Cassiopeia hangs upside down in the sky to remind her not to be so boastful.
Go.
Every 500 years when death is due, the firebird makes a new nest, and then it lights on fire by the noon sun, and then the ashes turn into a new phoenix.
Very good.
Our constellation is Draco. There's one famous Greek mythology legend about Draco. Draco's job was to hold up the sky. Then Hercule the god said if Draco guards his golden apples, Hercule would hold up the sky. So Draco guarded Hercule's golden apples, and then for no good reason Hercule tricked and killed Draco.